Thank you, Mr. DeBar. And just to clarify for the record, members of this committee will not be required to run an Ironman.
Speak for yourself.
You are encouraged to run an Ironman if you feel so inspired, but you will be enabled.
She climbed Kilimanjaro.
I climbed Mount Fuji, but I was 19.
I have my past staff behind me. I tried to encourage them to do a half Ironman when I was at DOE, and I got some significant HR pushback on pressuring them.
Understandably. And I will say on the Republican side of the aisle, two of our members, Mark Wayne Mullen and Dave McCormick, are both former very accomplished wrestlers, and more than a few of us have been trying to arrange a cage match, which we think would sell a lot of tickets. We have been unsuccessful in scheduling that, but hope springs eternal. Senator Sheehy just would shoot them both, so it's all a difference in perspective. All right, to the work at hand. Mr. DeBar, your experience at the Department of Energy, your 2-decade career in financial management, your success as the founder of a quantum technology company, all of that makes you very well qualified for this position. Tell us, why do you want to be Deputy Secretary of Commerce?
As I mentioned, Senator, this is an exciting time for the scope. Obviously, trade, as was mentioned by both you and the ranking members, obviously front and center. I have a significant amount of background to that in the private sector. And the bureaus that are primarily science and technology, NOAA, BIS, the Patent Office, the CHIPS Act, those and others, are NTIA, are primarily science and technology efforts. And obviously I have a great background in it, but I'm also very passionate about each and every one of those areas.
So as you and I discussed in my office yesterday, the president and this administration has two paths before it. One path that I think is very, very positive, one path that I think is very, very negative. The positive path, I think President Trump right now has extraordinary leverage, unprecedented leverage, to negotiate lower tariffs from our trading partners in exchange for lowering the tariffs that he has threatened to impose on them. I think if we end up 30, 60, 90 days from now in a world where we've got markedly lower tariffs across the globe, that would be an historic victory for Americans, for American jobs, for American workers. On the other hand, the second path we could go down is a path that maintains very high tariffs in perpetuity, American tariffs on all of our trading partners, and we can expect retaliatory tariffs from our trading partners. I believe that would be a very bad path. I believe that would be a path that would hurt Texas and would hurt America. What is your view? Which path is preferable for the administration to take?
The president has been very clear on support of the president's positions on the different drivers of trade and the different potential accomplishments of trade. One of them may be to drive down barriers and tariffs, tariffs and non-tariff barriers in our trading counterparties. Another one is to reindustrialize the U.S. as we lost a significant amount of jobs, especially since the WTO acquisition of the PRC drove down industrial jobs. The third one is national security. I think yourself and many others here talk about the national security impact of the trade deficits. And the last one is potentially revenues. I am not certain of the exact negotiations between various parties, but I could certainly see that some negotiations may be more focused on the accomplishment of one or two of those, and some might be others. For example, I've testified many times before the Senate about China and national security issues, and I certainly think that when we talk about the PRC, national security and reindustrialization is going to be much more focused as a likely outcome of negotiations.
I recognize you will not be the ultimate decision maker when it comes to the president's trade policy, but you will be one of the voices in the room, and it is my hope that you will be a voice in the room advocating for using these tariffs as leverage to secure freer and fairer trade, because I think that's the right direction for the administration to go. Let me shift to a different topic. One of the Department of Commerce's most consequential responsibilities is the allocation and management of spectrum through the NTIA. Last year, Leader Thune, Senator Blackburn, and I introduced a bill to restore the FCC's authority and establish a clear, actionable spectrum pipeline, one that empowers commercial businesses to invest, to innovate, and create jobs. We now have the opportunity to advance a pipeline through reconciliation, which will not only bring in significant funding to the Treasury, but will also help unleash American prosperity through market innovation and investment. Notably, the bill does not constrain the various parties in determining how to meet the goals of the pipeline. It provides instead a framework for success. It also enhances our national security, as any agency that becomes more efficient in its use of spectrum will receive significant funding. The NTIA will play a lead role as the federal government's spectrum management agency. Do you agree that it is important for the federal government to make additional spectrum available for commercial use, and that this can be done without compromising national security?
Yes, Senator.
Tell this committee what the benefits are of making additional spectrum available for private development.
So there's two in particular, Mr. Chairman, that I would highlight. One is satellite 5G, which is still very early stage. And then one that I'm particularly interested in focusing on, if I'm so lucky to be confirmed, is on satellite 6G, where the U.S. needs to jump forward as a next competitive battlefield with the PRC. So the utilization of spectrum to not only get to 5G satellite, but also get to 6G satellite, which hopefully by the end of my term, if I'm so lucky to be confirmed, that we will be moving forward on that and showing leadership on that over the PRC.
I very much agree that it is critical that America win the race for 5G and for 6G, and that we not fall behind China. And if we find ourselves in a world where China, and Huawei in particular, has provided the global architecture for telecommunications worldwide, that would do enormous damage both to our economic security and our national security. And I trust you will work hard in this new role to prevent that from happening. Ranking Member